President Biden's going to give $770 to each resident affected by the LA fires.
We can give Ukraine how much? And we just don't take care of U.S. citizens.
So there is something about aid to Ukraine that people should know. People have this misconception that we send money. Actually, the reason we send money and politicians want to send money to Ukraine.
Well, it's for our own interest.
Yeah, well, it's because our American companies actually. So we give the money to American companies, and then they produce the material that Ukraine uses. So in a way, yeah, it's actually.
Hold on, you can't.
It keeps the economy going, here, and a lot of constituents.
But you can't cut a little bit off that and give it to American citizens.
It's not. I just think it's not a question of we could give more money. I'd have to look at what this is.
Look how fast we send money to Ukraine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a one-time payment. He says to help people get things like water and baby formula.
Yeah, so
that's one night hotel in that area.
But what's going to happen here actually is there's a lot of talk of the federal government coming in and making everybody completely whole. So in other words, here's the problem, right? You want to build your house in the Palisades. You don't have insurance. You have California insurance good for up to $3 million depending. And and you can't get a loan. We know that. And you're not going to get insurance. So the federal government in this case could say, we are going to give you all the money it takes to rebuild not only the community, but your
You're talking
own
about
house.
$150 billion.
Talking about that.
$150 billion.
And they'll do it. That could be earmarked. I can see them doing that. Yeah. It would have to go, though, with certain changes. So watch this. The Trump administration can then take that up and say, hey, California, Los Angeles specifically, here are the government initiatives you have to put into order. Here's the executive order you, Gavin Newsom, you, Karen Bass, have to put into place in order for this federal money to go to you. Otherwise, it's throwing good money after bad, right?
It'd be great if they did that.
I think you're going to see a sea change in.
I mean, Palisades won't be the same for 5-6 years.
That's right.
At least.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I guess winds are going to pick back up tonight.
It's already happening.
It's already
Wednesday,
happening.
yeah.
Today's the last day, though.
Hopefully.
Wednesday's the last day. Wednesday at 6 p.m. is the end of it.
So if we can hold firm on this, I don't see any
we're
smoke.
fine.
It's all good.
Well, no, because even where we're at, the winds are opposite.
Got it.
So we're fine no matter
Got it.
what. But it sucks for those other people.
Yeah.
Before we get to our next one, I thought this was just kind of good news to say. I guess there's a ceasefire now with Hamas.
Is that really?
Yeah, announced it this morning.
Thank God.
And
the leaders were saying Trump was a big advocate getting that done, and then Biden took credit for it.
yeah,
That's how it goes.
it does say Biden says. It says,
Yeah,
but
Wow. And including a hostage release. Here's the thing. There's a baby, remember, a 9-month-old baby that was taken. If that baby's dead, it'll be like a mouthful of ash for the Israelis.
yep.
There's a lot riding on this. Remember, I would remind people, what's his name? Galit. I can't remember his first name. He was the one Israeli soldiers they had captive for 6 years. And Israel traded 1,100 Palestinians for one man.
Christ.
Among them was Yahya Sinwar, who was the architect of this. And so, and there's a thing in Jewish law that says you essentially no man left behind, even if they're dead.
Yeah.
You have to reclaim. It's part of the Torah. It's part of Jewish law. You cannot leave even one Jew in the hands of the enemy. You have to get them back, and that's why you can't have a hostage. And they knew that. When you take hostages, everything stops. It's
Yeah.
torn Israel apart.
Yep.
Torn them apart. Wow, look at this.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
And I got one more for you. Got it. You guys kind of touched on it. Thought we could watch the video. Bill Burr was ripping some of the critics for the wildfires. He was trying to be funny, but I don't know.
This is vintage Burr for me.
Yeah.
But even Burr during the pandemic, even on Rogan, he's like, "Oh, what are you, a fucking doctor? Put a mask on. Who gives a fuck?" Like that's his thing.
That's his thing.
But to say Newsom's doing a great job,
I'd have to edit it out, but you guys already know the clip, or
No.
Okay, I'll just play it and I'll edit it out. You guys can talk about it.
You have to evacuate your home.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Burr.
How
Yeah.
have you?
It was definitely mismanaged. idiot on the internet knows how to manage the worst fire in LA, sitting there in his
No, hold on, real quick. They don't, Burr. They don't. They don't.
What they're
And
saying is,
that's
how did we get here in the first place?
The reason we're saying it's mismanaged is no, we don't know how to do it.
let me give you
the
an
reason
example.
we pay high taxes. We assume our political leaders fucking
Thank
know
you.
how to manage
Thank
it.
you. Let me give you an example.
That's what we're
Let me give you an
paying for,
example.
Bill Burr.
So before this fire, okay, we already knew that State Farm said this: you're not managing the brush properly. As a result, the fire threat is very high. We're going to raise your premiums. The LA said you're not allowed to. They said then we're going to pull because we have to make money. Now, when an insurance company says that already, but let me keep going. The National Weather Service issued a dire warning of fire threat January 1st. Okay, said this is very serious. Then the LA Weather Service said yes. This is then they had a public press conference because the threat was so high. Let me say it again. They had a public press conference saying the threat of fire is very, very high. And you have all these power lines that are old and you have all this vegetation. Something's got to be done. So the time to get firefighters from Oregon, from Mexico and all that was then. The time to start dropping fire retardant was then. The time for fire management was then.
Yes.
Okay? The time to say to everybody, guys, make sure the fire hydrants are the aquifers and everything's ready to go was then.
Now, what would you call that?
Now, wait.
Mismanaged.
I got one much better. And so what they did was Karen Bass went to Ghana.
Yeah.
Okay? She went to Ghana.
Yep. And drained the reservoir.
Gavin Newsom was busy doing photo ops.
Yep.
Looking good. So please don't tell me that the fires were not managed properly. We had a fire that was the fourth largest in Los Angeles history. It was the campfire fire set by somebody who was on parole for a felony, who had been convicted of a felony before that. Okay, thank you, Gascon. So please don't tell me that
all that would lead to mismanagement.
That's what I'm saying.
And before I say it, Bill's my favorite comic.
Love him.
I absolutely adore Bill Burr.
And he's great here. This is
the
him.
best.
He should be doing this.
Jimmy Kimmel, like, right? Can you believe all these people? It's like,
Yeah.
God, shut the
This
fuck
is a
up.
funny bit that I love. I don't include Bill here. I love Bill. I'm always going to defend Bill. He's great. But I'm just saying it was not managed properly.
No.
It was managed very poorly. And there are a lot of really smart people that have given us a forensic timeline here that's unassailable. It just is. And I think it's the end of Gavin Newsom's political career, and I think it's the end of
think
Karen
he's gonna be
Bass.
recalled?
I think it's the end of his career. I think any aspirations to be a president are
that's out the
adorable,
window.
and I think Karen Bass is done as well.
I think COVID was his first and second strike, and this is his
Yep.
third.
I predict what happens in Los Angeles and in California is what happened in Louisiana. I think there's a red wave. That's what I think. It may take a year or 2 years, but it's going to happen.
We'll be out before that.
Yep.